Hi and welcome to another Grumpy video. It will come as no surprise to most of you that this week TV licensing, or Capita as they prefer not to be called, have been exposed. In an undercover interview, some of their unsavoury tactics for targeting people who they like to call evaders, regardless of whether they actually are, have been caught on video and shared with the world. Now I'm going to link to two videos below in case you haven't already seen this. I think they're definitely worth a watch, but try not to punch your screen, whatever you're watching on. Because they've been exposed, Capita are once again launching an investigation into themselves. What could possibly go wrong? Of course, most people think this is just paying lip service to dealing with a problem, as though the BBC, TVL and Capita had no idea this was going on. The fact that there's been articles, blogs, videos on YouTube showing this behaviour for years has somehow passed them by completely. The innocent little darlings. They really had no idea this was going on. So they'd like us to think. Except they did. It wasn't a great secret, I don't think, that when people who post videos about BBC, TVL and Capita, they watch them. I mean, there's been pictures of people showing where they've watched them. Yet now they want to plead plausible deniability. Sadly for some people who wish to defend the BBC, TVL, Capita, this may be enough to convince them. Every organisation has a bad apple after all. It doesn't mean they're all at it, and maybe not all of them are. In the interests of balance, there may be enforcers from Capita who are lovely, decent, honest people who would never mislead the public about whether or not they need a TV licence, in order to get them to buy one regardless of whether they really need it. There may be employees of Capita who do not start filling out a conviction form on the doorstep with selected details intended to secure a conviction against a genuinely innocent person who then has to fight to clear their name in court. There may be employees that do not need a camera phone shoved in their face to force them to behave with decency. Although that's a tough one, because even with the camera trained on them, I've seen videos on YouTube of TVL goons giving blatantly incorrect information, and in extreme cases even with the police in attendance who confirm that that misinformation is correct. Now, to a lot of people this is going to be very intimidating. How do you argue against TVL officials, as they like to refer to themselves, and several police officers? I mean, yes, obviously you do have the right to disagree, even with the police. But how many people are really comfortable telling these people, all these people, that they are ignorant of the facts when they don't want to accept it? And if the police don't understand what the law is, what chance is there for the average civilian? And there's the problem. So many people confronted on their doorsteps by these people are persuaded that they are doing something wrong in order for the goon to make a sale. And then, with the sale secured, they can still face a conviction for not having a TV licence that they may never have needed, that they were convinced that they did need even though they didn't. For example, I recently came across an article that said Capita managed to secure convictions against 181,880 people for licence evasion in 2012, in addition to forcing them to buy TV licences whether they needed them or had just been talked into believing that they did. And how did they manage to give out the wrong information? How did they not know who truly needs a licence? Well, the truth is they do know, even if their salespeople claim not to know. In fact, and I apologise in advance here because I'm going to link to a TV licensing advert video in the description, but bear with me, there is a reason for this. When goons visit, they will sometimes try and convince you that you must have a licence when you don't need one. I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube where the goons insisted, sometimes with the agreement of the police, that you need a licence if you have the internet, because the internet can theoretically be used to receive live broadcasts. Except in their own video, which I've linked below, it states very clearly that you can watch catch-up except iPlayer without a licence. But you can't watch catch-up without the internet. Therefore the internet cannot be a reason on its own to require a TV licence. It's that simple, they've said it themselves, but apparently they've forgot to tell their enforcers. They're contradicting their own official information. They do know about it because there are so many videos on it, they cannot claim it's a surprise to them. They even have guidelines on what to do if they are filmed on the doorstep, so they know it happens and they know why. But as long as most people didn't know, they felt they could continue. And now they've been exposed by a well-known organisation. They're claiming implausible ignorance. They want us to believe that it was a few bad apples. But how realistic is that really? Their own recruitment website says that they are commission-based, a fact their salespeople often deny on the doorstep. Yet if you look at their site, it says a basic salary of £20,000 with OTE of £25,000. OTE is, as most people know, a sales term for on-target earnings. This means you have to hit a certain amount of sales to achieve a bonus. This is commission, and commission is paid to salespeople. Now, I'm not saying that Capita goons are simply salespeople, don't get me wrong. They're that and more. Because most salespeople do not have the power to take you to court if you do not agree to buy their product on the doorstep. If a man calls buy and tries to persuade you to purchase a year's subscription to Cheese Fanciers Monthly and you say, oh no thank you, he won't start trying to caution you and ask you if you can just come in your house and check you don't have any cheese in your fridge. But Capita goons, first and foremost, are salespeople, and they are aggressively pressured by their bosses to aggressively target anybody who isn't already a customer, regardless of whether they want to be or need to be. And this, as you will know if you watch the videos that I've linked below, goes up a chain. The goon's boss has a boss, who has a boss, and so on and so on. And from the top down, everybody is applying pressure until they get to the person at the bottom who has the misfortune to answer the door to a man or woman with the weight of an entire organisation leaning on them. No wonder some of these people are so unpleasant. Sadly, as some of you will know, Capita are not just employed by the BBC. They are involved with many other organisations, with hefty price tags for their services, and I'm using that word loosely. It seems, despite their bad reputation, the customer base is growing, perhaps thanks to the very tactics they've been exposed for. They're everywhere. I think one day, 20, 30 or 40 years in the future, we'll all be working for Capita, and then on payday we'll simply hand our wages straight back to them. Cheers to the future, it's going to be bleak.